that an illegal immigrant has just been charged with the rape of a 10-year-old girl in Ohio. He's Guatemalan national and has reportedly been living in that state for 7 years. Police say he confessed to attacking her many times. This case first came to light when a local Indianapolis reporter overheard a doctor talking about a child who had to cross state lines into Indiana to get an abortion because of Ohio's new law. That doctor is now under investigation in Indiana, where she could face charges over not reporting the rape. In Ohio, the Attorney General there released this statement. My heart aches for the pain suffered by this young child. I am grateful for the diligent work of the Columbus Police Department in securing a confession and getting a rapist off the street. Justice must be served, and BCI stands ready to support law enforcement across Ohio putting these criminals behind bars. Kaylee.
Yeah, this is a heartbreaking story. I can't imagine the pain of this little girl. You know, as a mom to a girl myself, it's the worst thing you could ever think about happening to your daughter, happening to a woman. So my heart is with her because she is going through something that I can't imagine. That aside, what I do want to say is the Attorney General, he did come out and say that this young girl breaks my heart to think about. She did not have to leave Ohio to find treatment. So I think it's important for those in Ohio to know that going forward there's an emergency exception to their law. And this is why we do have states who can decide one way. Other states can decide another way. I also think there are grave questions for this doctor. You mentioned one of those grave questions for the doctor. Why did you report this to a newspaper and not authorities? I hope she did report to authorities.
And
I
when
don't learn that
happened.
detail. When it happened.
Yeah.
And then also HIPAA concerns. That is sacrosanct in the medical community when you treat a patient. And did she have the authorization of this girl to go to the Indiana Star? I think that's a very important question.
Yeah, those are great questions. And I would imagine that's why they're investigating, because they want an outside look now into exactly what happened. Emily, when we talk about the law in this instance, I'm curious too, Kaylee, just to further that, what obligation does the doctor have legally? I mean, you know, in most states they report that, and that's what the Attorney General of Ohio was saying earlier. He said, well, I don't have that rape kit. I don't have these things to communicate that anything has happened. How culpable is this doctor?
That's right. So in Indiana and also Ohio, there are strict reporting requirements for both abortions and also rape allegations. And so the Indiana Attorney General has said, we are gathering the evidence as we speak. He said, we're going to fight this to the end, including looking at her licensure if she failed to report, because it's a crime to intentionally not report. As Kaylee mentioned, there are HIPAA violation allegations now that can lead to criminal and also civil penalties. That can lead up to jail time. There's a variety of factors that go into that analysis, like the harm caused, malicious intent, the intent behind it, and the like. And then in terms of this perp, I just have to point out that we know the Biden administration sort of categorized only three areas in which deportation can be implemented and enforced. Obviously, this falls under the public safety one, and even though a court has recently struck down even that narrowing, we know that he is hopefully on his way out, but obviously with a stop in our criminal justice system, hopefully for life.
David, we've got about a minute and a half left.
You know, this has been discussed widely on my show and by people all across the country. These are the questions they're raising, but there's also another one. Local law enforcement, what did they know when, is a question to be asked. To have an investigation, you have to follow every part of the process. They now have to go back and look at any other contact this illegal alien had with young children. And that is a hard thing to do when you have someone who hides in the dark. This is a further extension of the failure to deal with immigration in this country. Ohio became an attractive state over the many years because of lax rules. They now also in Ohio, I don't care what party you are, need to look at what they're doing about illegal aliens and criminal illegals.
Jenna, the one thing that we haven't talked about, and with all of our hearts, we pray that this little girl is going to be okay, and that is the victim in all of this.
I really appreciate you making space for this, for that specific weight that Kaylee pointed to. It is certainly
the abortion
the
isn't
worst
the
nightmare
only thing that she's got to
of
suffer.
us and
How many
parents.
times did he attack her?
And I think what's so important here is that, and as it's no surprise as the only Democratic voice on this couch that I am very pro-choice, and one of the anti-choice rhetorics is that rape is the outlier. And here we are, what feels like minutes after Roe is overturned, being faced with this case collectively, and how we are carrying the weight of the horror that she sounds like has experienced, not just a single time, but the fact that only 463,000 cases are reported. And Mr. Webb, to your point, there's so many people who just do not report their cases because they don't think anything will get done about it, oftentimes because there's a lot of law enforcement that is short-staffed. That they don't know where to go, they don't know how to do it. So I think what's really important is that we not pretend that this is an outlier case. We are going to see more of this.
Then why was she used as a political tool? Why was the doctor not acting on it? Why was she first a political tool?
All great questions for the investigation, and I know that if they don't get at it, you'll get at it.
Yep, I will. We'll continue.
We'll move. More evidence now that Democrats
Looks
are
like he's
officially
taking
part
a
of
little
the
person.
elite, upscale voter, while Republicans are attracting